Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today in War Thunder we're going to be having a look at the crew skills involved with aircraft, and then in the next video we'll have a look at ground, and then there's also a video that I've done on the channel looking at naval stuff, but I'm going to leave that until that's out of closed beta, especially for this series. So what are crew skills? Well, crew skills are skills which are given to the pilot or given to the squad of guys who are in your plane making it function. The idea is, over time, you accrue points which are known as crew XP points, and you can spend it in areas that you see before you. Now, this is the same for aviation, army, and fleets, no matter where you go, and if you want to skip being able to grind out the crew XP points, you also can exchange some for golden eagles. But for me personally, I play the game a lot, therefore I don't need to do that. Most of the crews that I have, if we look at my American planes, as you can see, full on the pilot, and getting there, also logistical services and stuff. Generally I have pretty high crews because I played a lot, but for a lot of you guys starting out, this is something that you should gradually get over time. As you are becoming a better pilot, you should also be getting more crew XP points. And something that a lot of people forget, even experienced people, is the fact that they have extra crew points. So always check after a few battles at this tab, and what you can do is be able to add stuff to it. So, you know, if I had 600 skill, I'd be able to make my awareness 5 instead of 4.5. And all of this. So this is a general progression thing that you get over time, unless of course you want to put in some GE. So we're going to go through each of the skills, what they are, what they do, and all of that. Now when I started the game, all of these skills for aviation, because when I started there was only aircraft at the time, all of these skills haven't changed, but let's just say the descriptions are a hell of a lot better than they were before. Before there was a lot of guesswork in what goes on, but now they're pretty much concrete in the ground, which is really nice to see. So the first one is keen vision, and of course, as it says, the skill affects the pilot's visual range in the direction he is looking, i.e. the maximum distance at which he can detect the enemy in front of himself. The skill allows to increase the range of detection up to 2 times upon identical weather conditions, position of the sun, and altitude difference between the two aircraft. So as you can see, line of sight detection range for me, since it's at 5, is 5.7 kilometers. And then detection range against the sun, 1.43, look down detection range, 1.43. So let's talk about what these numbers mean. So my true line of sight, if there's nothing in front of me, there's no clouds, there's no weather, there's no sun, it's just a straight line with no effects on it, I can see up to 5.7 kilometers, with the base being 3.8, and on top of that the skill itself giving me 1.9. If the enemy is coming out of the sun, or if I'm looking at the sun, it will mean that I can only see the enemy up to 1.43, and by seeing it, it means actually targeting it. In air realistic battles and air arcade battles, when a person comes into your keen vision range, you can target them, meaning that you can select them so you can keep track of them and also work out how far away they are from you. But if somebody is coming out of the sun at me with my crew skill at 5, then I can see them up to 1.43 kilometers away. Look down detection range means that if you are flying in level flight and you're looking down from your cockpits using the camera, then you can see up to 1.43 kilometers below you. So a lot of the times what you find is attackers and bombers, they will actually try and go even further down to be able to make sure that you can't see them. Now, what might surprise you is that even though I have 5 out of 5 here, my total does not equal the top that you see there, and that is because there are 2 factors that I haven't talked about yet, which a lot of experienced pilots will use and mean that they have a slight edge over you when it comes to your crew skills. So this is qualification. Qualification is one of the things that you can add, where you can get pretty much +3 to all of your crews that you see. So, or +3 to all of the crew skills, I should say. And then on top of that, there is also an ace crew, which gives you +5. Now I'm going to demonstrate how much of a difference this makes. The reason why I'm going to a lower tier vehicle is because obviously the lower the tier they are, the cheaper it is for me, and I don't want to spend a ridiculous amount of money demonstrating this. So as you can see, my keen vision is 5.7 kilometers with the CR42. If I upgrade it to experts, costing me 1,000 silver lions because it's a low tier vehicle, then as you can see it's 5 plus 3 now, so it is now up to 6.84. And then if I upgrade it to Ace, now the interesting thing about Ace is you can actually grind it out. So as you see here, if I gain 96,000 research with the CR42, I can actually get this Ace qualification for free. But even if I get up to 48,000, which is a pretty standard number to be honest, especially for rank 4s and rank 5s, then it halves, and then once again 72,000 halves again. Obviously as you go up with these vehicles, let's say you hit a rank 4, rank 5 vehicle, then the RP required to get this Ace qualification for free is a hell of a lot higher than what it normally would be. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to upgrade to Ace, and as you can see it adds another +2. So overall, with getting experts and an Ace crew, you can double your crew level. Now that to me is a little bit insane, but I'm not going to give my opinions onto it. Instead I'm just going to show you how it works in this video. So if you want a fully aced out crew, you will have to get experts, and then you'll have to either grind out the Ace modification for it through qualifications, or you'll have to buy it, and that overall will give you +5 to all of your skills. And as you can see in aircraft, 5 is the maximum. So you can have the maximum amount of skill in keen vision, but you will still be down on some of the players that you are playing against, mainly because they have this aced or expert crew. So that is something you do have to take into account when you are playing against people. So yeah, that is keen vision. It's basically your vision of being able to target people. Awareness is an interesting one. So this skill affects the range at which enemies are detected in the vicinity around the vehicle but not directly in front of it. Thus, the higher the skill, the earlier the markers for enemies become visible. The skill allows the increase the range of detection up to 2 times. So what is interesting about this one is there are 2 things that it does. First of all, let's say you're looking straight all the time, so just straight past your aircraft. If somebody comes up behind you, what you'll get around the screen is this little arrow, and that arrow basically means that your awareness is going off and there's something near you. This happens in ground vehicles, it happens in Air Realistic, it'll happen in Air Arcade as well, but you do have the mini-map in Air Arcade at least. So what will happen is before an enemy will be able to attack you, let's say you're in clouds or something, your awareness will go off and there'll be a little red arrow, which is why it's always worth checking the corners of your screen just to see if there's any little red arrow there, seeing if somebody is trying to sneak up on you, because obviously a lot of people do. On top of this, what this also does is it means that you can spot people while you're not looking at that direction. And this means that allies can also help you out. They can go after the enemies. They can also be able to tell you that the enemies are coming. It's basically a skill designed for if you are getting jumped on by an enemy, which does happen a decent amount, or if you're in really heavy cloud cover. On top of this, awareness shouldn't be that much of an issue, apart from for new players, and this is a key thought. So with awareness, it makes you aware of stuff that you're not looking at, but as a person who is playing aircraft, you should always be looking around. Even if you are in the middle of a dogfight, you should be looking around while you are turning. You should be able to master the skill of being able to move around seamlessly while checking for people coming in. This is a skill which took me around about 1.5 to 2 years to properly master, but it is something that if I knew from the start would have helped me a hell of a lot in that first year or so that I was playing. So awareness is one of those skills which you don't have to worry about unless you struggle with being able to look around you with the camera. Most of the time you should be able to do this without worrying too much. Keen vision is much more useful. G-tolerance. Now G-tolerance is the positive and negative G-forces, or tolerance of the positive and negative G-forces. In the mouse aim mode, the skill affects control accuracy of the aircraft. So as you can see, once again, we have a peak G and a peak negative G. This means the as much as you can pull on an enemy aircraft, or as much as you can push on it. Now generally at the lower tiers, if you are new to the game, this mechanic is not really going to bother you too much, because you're not going to be pulling crazy amounts of Gs. But at the higher tiers, especially when you get to, let's say, rank 3 and above, especially with rank 5 and jets, this is a key skill. And the reason for this is because it's how far you can personally push your plane while also, not snapping it or having any issue like that. So overall, this skill may not be one to focus on first, but understand that later on, as you go through the ranks, it's going to be incredibly important for you moving forward. The stamina one is the next one, and this is all about fatigue. So the skill allows the crew to resist fatigue for a longer period of time. Accuracy and G-tolerance gradually decrease depending on the time spent in the session and the number of G-forces sustained. So in addition, the skill has an effect on aiming accuracy in mouse aiming mode. So stamina it takes into account how long you have been on the battlefield. It takes into account if you've just pulled a bunch of Gs. It takes into account all of the factors which are supposed to stress your pilot, and if you have a higher stamina number, then what that will mean is your pilot will be able to react faster after doing these strenuous tasks, such as pulling a lot of Gs, or such as going incredibly fast and trying to get out of it, and also stuff like being able to last for longer periods of time in the battlefield. Now, this factor is hard to put a label on. Like, it's very obvious for me. Keen vision is incredibly important. Awareness is incredibly important. Maybe for new players if they're struggling with the camera. G-tolerance is important when you go through later tiers, but with stamina it is hard to say if it is important or not. Obviously, if you put yourself into a situation where you are involved with a lot of turn fighting, or you really like the idea of boom and zooming, stamina is incredibly important. But if you are a player who plays a different playstyle or prefers a different playstyle, then therefore stamina is not as important in the general scheme of things, and will only be important in certain little areas, such as if you have a game for half an hour. So that one is really up to you. Vitality is the health of the crew members that you have on board, or in this case it is the pilots, since we're in the pilot tab of the thing. Now the pilot tab obviously affects every aircraft, because every aircraft has a pilot. The gunners tab affects the gunners, and then the logistical service is for the plane. So with vitality, once again, you sit yourself on a number which isn't exactly well defined. So for a novice pilot, the second 303 bullet hit from an NG-15 or similar or comparable shrapnel impact is usually fatal, while a pilot with the vitality maxed out can, with a measure of luck, survive even one hit from a 50 cal M2 Browning machine gun. So as you can see, we are comparing two types of shots here, and the way we're doing it is by percentage, which right now my vitality in this crew is 3.5. That is giving me an extra 70% vitality, so I'm 70% more vital than the average person, according to this. As you can see, a little bit confusing. But basically, the higher the number, the more chance you have of surviving direct hits. A lot of planes nowadays have armor in their aircraft. When I started, armor wasn't a thing for planes. So because of that, vitality has become less of a thing you have to worry about, but it is still a key aspect of the game, especially if you like head-onning, or especially if you like going after bombers, who generally will try and snipe your pilot. So overall, it is up to you for vitality. The key ones for me personally, is keen vision, G-tolerance, and vitality. and then it goes stamina, and awareness is the last of them. So if you want to get them in that order, or you should get a little bit of everything, but mainly focus on stuff like keen vision, I think is the way forward. But yeah, it's as I said, it's vitality. Overall, your guys in War Thunder do have a health bar, because everything in gaming in general works on percentages and health bars. So with that said, your pilot does have a health bar, and that's what I think vitality is referring to when you say you have like 70% more hit points than you would from the the starting block. But overall, it is still very confusing, especially because we don't know how much damage each round does. Moving on to the next tab, which is gunners. This is a little bit complicated, but to me it makes sense, and hopefully I can explain it to you. First of all, we'll have to get a bomber up, won't we? Otherwise it won't make a lot of sense. Let's guess one which is a bit more beefy, that has a bunch of gunners. How about this one? There we go. So what we have out of this crew is a number of experienced gunners, fire accuracy of the AI, fire precision of the AI, G tolerance, stamina, and vitality. So what is number of experienced gunners? Number of experienced gunners is basically a demultiplier unless you have that amount of gunners. So you can see on the DO217E2, I have 5 turrets on it. And if we go here, we have 1 experienced gunner, since we have 0.5 out of 5, which would equal 1, right? And overall, you can get 10 experienced gunners if you are able to max this out and also get the qualification and all of that wonderful stuff. Actually, no, sorry, this one isn't affected by qualification, but all of these are. The way you can tell if they're affected by qualification or not, they have these little things here. This shows you that you're able to buy it, and also that it will affect these skills. So all of these skills are effective, all of these skills are affected, apart from repair rank and the gunners. Only the number of experienced gunners is affected. But anyway, the number of experienced gunners is a demultiplier on all of the rest. So if you see here, and this may be a little bit confusing, but just focus on the numbers. So the total is the general numbers which you are sat at. The base is obviously what you start off, and then the gold bar is the effect of the points that you put into the skills. Then the next one is obviously effective qualification, and then the next one is the effects of the experienced gunners number. So you can see that the experienced gunners number here are negative, and that is because I have less experienced gunners than I have on the machine itself. If I have more or the same, then it does not become a negative multiplier. It becomes pretty much nothing, or even a positive multiplier in some ways. So because of that, it is always, if you are deciding to fly bombers, which is basically what this gunner tab is for, it's for the AI crew that you have on your machine, then what you need to do is make sure that experienced gunners is something you do put at least a few points into, because otherwise it will just massively depreciate all of your other stats to the point where they're just basically useless putting crew XP into them if your experienced gunners is just going to take it away in the form of, as you see here. It is basically annihilating the effective skills that I'm putting in because of the experienced gunners. Instead of getting 0.05 out of maximum burst duration, I'm getting 0.01 out of targeting speed. Instead of getting 0.6, I'm getting 0.15. You see the issues here, meaning that all of these are depreciated by this. So anyway, let's go through the different skills that we have. Fire accuracy. So increases the traverse speed of the turret, increases the maximum burst length by up to 3 times, increases the distance at which gunners can start firing at a target by up to 275%, increases the distance at which the target's direction can be anticipated, increases the chance of simultaneous fire and leading the target, removes miscalculation and leading the target. As you can see, this skill does a hell of a lot, but it is all down to AI accuracy. So if you are a person who is using your own gunners, then overall this won't really make that much of a difference. What this will do instead is just throw away points. So if you're a person who likes to be proactive and you like to fly the aircraft and also gun at the same time, this skill isn't that useful for you. But if you're a person who wants to just focus directly on flying, then fire accuracy is the place for you, and you can see all of the stuff that it does below. Fire precision is very similar, so it reduces the scatter of the gun by 2.5 times, 2 times in RB, SB, increases the burst length by up to a third when fully researched, increases the distance at which the gunners open fire in arcade modes by marginal amounts, and increases the chance of simultaneous firing and leading the target just like fire accuracy. So all of these are important. Precision is a bit more important because as you control the gunners, this still takes a little bit of an effect where the other one really doesn't. So if you are planning on using your own gunners, focus on precision instead of focusing on accuracy. G tolerance, the same as before, but for your gunners. So it's kind of as simple as that. It's how much they are affected by it, how hard you can pull a vehicle without your gunners all passing out and dying. And then you have the stamina, same as the pilots once again, at least the same rules for it. Vitality, once again, exactly the same, but with obviously the caveat of the number of experienced gunners once again. The last part of looking at the crew skills for the aircraft is the logistical service, and this is all based around repair and weapons and how they interact in the arcade, realistic and simulator modes. So the repair rank. So what is the repair rank? It is the mechanic's skill, the maximum rank of vehicle that the mechanic can repair. And then which ties into it is the repair speed. So this is all to do with the hangar stuff. Now we have a DO217E2 here. It's a rank 3 bomber. So if we fly this out, and as you can see it has a max repair cost there of 4,364 silver lions. So if we fly this out, and then we, instead of wanting to pay that, what we have to wait is 1 day, 10 hours for it to repair itself, to be able to be fully repaired, and we don't have to worry about it, right? We don't have to pay for it, I should say. Now let's take it out of the crew that it was in and put it here. It's going to take us 2 days, 1 hour instead, and that is mainly down to the crew skills that you see before you. Because it is a rank 4 or lower, which is the repair rank that you see here, it is then affected by the repair speed, meaning that, as you can see, the base is 2 days, 1 hour, and then it gets negative 14 hours 55, meaning that it will be repaired in 1 day, 10 hours instead. It also affects the airfield repair time, so what this means is in air realistic or air arcade, if you are damaged, or if you are out of ammunition and you go back to the airfield, then you land on the airfield, what happens is you are able to repair, and this repair speed, what it does is it decreases the amount of time which you will require on repairing on the airfield depending on what is wrong with you, obviously. So these two are effective, but they are definitely not the most effective, especially if you turn off auto repair, and also if you are fine with making enough silver lines to be able to play. And if you're playing a lot of air realistic and air arcade, you shouldn't really have any issues with silver lions. Reload speed. Now reload speed only affects air arcade. This is the amount of time it takes in air to reload your weapons. So in air arcade you are able to reload your weapons, whether it be your cannons, machine guns, torpedoes, bombs, you name it, even rockets and everything like that. In air realistic, this isn't a thing. In air realistic, you have to land to be able to equip your bombs, rockets, machine guns, cannons, and so on. So therefore, this skill is just for arcade players. And what it means is it reduces the time as you put more points into it for the amount of time it takes to reload your guns and bombs and rockets and everything while you are in the air. It's as simple as that. And you can see all the values here and show you how it affects it. The weapon maintenance. Now this is something that does affect the air realistic, arcade, and simulator. It reduces the overheating speed of primary weapons as well as spread of bombs and rockets for aircraft, reduces the chance of weapon jamming due to overheating by up to 3 times, and reduces the angular velocity of bombs, rockets, and torpedoes by up to 3 times, thereby significantly improving their accuracy. So overall what you're getting is more accurate bombs, and also less weapon jams. What weapon jamming is you will find with most guns as you fire them, there will be a little red ticker around your around the crosshair that you're using to aim. What will happen is once this starts blinking and then goes, then your weapons or guns will jam, meaning that you will not be able to fire them again until you either repair them in the air in arcade, or if you go land and you get them unjammed and then get some extra ammunition, the stuff that you've fired. So overall, overheating your weapons can be a real issue with certain guns like A&M3s from the Americans, and also some of the Hispanos. So getting weapon maintenance can help you a lot out with these problems. Generally, aircraft will have a modification that will help you out, and therefore on top of the weapon maintenance means that you can fire for a very long time. The bomb scattering helps a lot in stuff like ground realistic when you're flying aircraft, but when it comes to bombing bases, which is what you're going to be doing the majority of the time with heavy bombers in air realistic, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. If you're trying to be incredibly precise and hit stuff like medium tanks or heavy tanks from high altitude, then of course it is something that you should definitely sort out and get. But out of these four, the main one for me is weapon maintenance, because I'm a main air realistic player. Reload speed is something you should look into if you play arcade, and then repair rank and repair speed should really be the things that you put points into after you've maxed out all of your pilot stuff and you want to get some money back on those repairs. But anyway, that is having a look at all of the different cruise skills for the aviation. Next time what we'll do is we'll have a look at the army stuff. I'll see you then.